Yes, Kusumbi. Yeah. Which is another song. I know. Everybody do it with me. Okay. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Dance with the legs up and the legs down. Yeah. Up, down, up. All right, we go now. It's a nice beat, man. We go.
Welcome to Feferity Radio. This is your nostalgic station. I hope you're feeling good already. Taking you back, way back. Well, I want to welcome you, Apostle Fred Osei Annin. Listening to that music, tell us, where does it take you back?
Yes, it's really taking me back, way back where I started. I used to be a musician.
You used to be a musician?
And a vocalist.
Okay.
In fact, I was a lead vocalist for our band. And I had time really to get myself into music because I was born from a place where music was part of our culture.
Right.
So I took that to be something that was me. So when I was a musician,
yes,
I had time with my people to enjoy ourselves and to move on and do so many things that I was not supposed to do. And yes.
We're going to come to that now.
Yes, that's right. Yes.
So, I mean, can you remember the band? Was it a band you got, you formed? Or?
Yeah, it was a band.
Yeah. What was it called?
One was called Sweet Elsa.
Sweet
Elsa.
Sweet Elsa.
Yes. And the other one was Elsa Chapter 2. In fact, Elsa Chapter 2 evolved from Sweet Elsa.
Okay.
Because the band broke down and then we reformed it again.
Right.
Yes. And then also after that, I also was part of Asakos International.
Asakos International.
Asakos International.
Right.
Yes. And that one was purely an African high life band. And we used to go everywhere to entertain people.
Uh-huh.
And also when people are having their birthdays, their
wedding,
balabi.
Yeah.
The Muslims are finishing up their, fasting.
Yes.
Then they'll come for us to go and then just do the dance for them.
Right.
Or that, yes. So, yeah, so many bands actually. And I was also doing, we call that shabo, when the band needs you to come and then play for them,
Uh-huh.
then they will come and hire you. And
Shawo.
that kind of shabo.
Oh, Shabo.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Wow. So that was a long time. Is there any clip of you, Sweet Elsa, on YouTube somehow? Did you guys recorded any songs at that time?
We because we were just playing back what others pray.
Yes. Okay.
And so we didn't have that time to record our own music at that time.
Right.
Yes, but I think if you Google Asakos International, one of them will come up.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll try and look for that.
Okay.
Asakos International.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much. So this music, the Kusum beat, is such a famous sort of rhythm, isn't it, out of Ghana?
Yes, it is. It is one. One of the danceable music that people use, especially when they are having festivals and all that. Fun. When they are really having fun.
Yes.
And it just moves your feet to dancing.
Yes.
And it has that. That's got that kind of, force within it that when you're sitting and you are listening.
Yes.
It just takes you on board. Yes.
So take us back, because we know some of the listeners will know what you're engaged in doing now here in London, United Kingdom. But as we're talking about, reminiscing about Ghana, take us back and tell us about, growing up, and how did you get into music and entertainment? Because like you're saying, playing for weddings and ceremonies and festivals and occasions are a form of entertainment.
Yes.
Give us a little background of how you as a young man, got into music.
It wasn't something I planned doing, but I just saw myself within it. I was just trapped, as I can say, into it, because I had no choice but just to engage myself.
Was it friends or families that were playing music?
It wasn't like friends or families,
Uh-huh.
but it was like I've reached a point of my time that I needed to put something within my life. And because I've got the music spirit within me,
Yes.
and this opportunity came, I have to put myself in.
What part in Ghana was it?
This one is in the eastern region,
Uh-huh.
Koforidia.
Koforidia.
Yes,
Okay, in the eastern.
in the eastern region. Yes.
So how life was at that time for you, to feel like you've not been given the opportunity and you want to show it off through music?
Yeah. In fact, it was somehow fulfilling in a way, but it wasn't that which I wanted really. So I just bought into it and developed it. So I became like the main vocalist.
Okay.
And so if I'm not there, the other one that is singing find it very difficult, because like on show you have about 2 people or 3 people.
Yeah.
One will be singing on funky songs.
Okay.
One is good also in high life.
Uh-huh.
So if you are just all by yourself doing the whole thing all together, you will never be able to catch up. So when, like me, I'm supposed to maybe do the soul part of the whole thing.
The soul?
Yeah, soul.
Okay.
So if I'm not there on stage,
No soul.
no soul. So the other person will have to struggle to get a soul in, because
Right.
people are looking for that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So that was that, and like I said, it's a talent. So once you discover that which you are looking for, and you don't get it, there's always a plan B. There's always a substitute to catch you up into the main core. So yeah, I didn't plan. It just the opportunity came and I took it. Yes.
And at that time, you can imagine there were lots of opportunities, because it's just after independence, isn't it? A lot of opportunities, where the music is concerned, where Ghana is concerned, in fact.
Yes. The reason why I thought that I had to go that line again was that those opportunities there, but you need to have that, impact to put yourself into that opportunity and assess it. And I was lacking so many things to make that opportunity to be my opportunity. So I didn't have any choice but to go this way. because the opportunity comes. Maybe you've been blessed to go to the secondary school, have your degree and that kind of thing. So if an opportunity of a good jobs comes in, you have to grab it, because you have reached that point that you have to grab it because it is yours. So I didn't have that opportunity, So I had to settle for something that I could go for, even though it wasn't the best, but I had to take it as serious.
In the process, did you learn to play any instrument?
I didn't. In fact, I had wanted to play drums, but because I was hooked with the music, the vocal part of the whole thing, I didn't really have time. But until when I had, one way or the other, left the musical scene, the contemporary musical scene, that I realized I should have taken drums seriously.
Why?
Because I borrowed my talent that I had playing in the band into the church.
Right.
And in the church as well, we pray music because you have to praise God and worship God in a way, and you need all the musical instruments around you. So when it comes to a point of time when you need the drums to accompany the musical part of the whole thing, it is not there. So like if I had learned how to play the drums, and when that missing links had come up, that was when I just felt like, I should have done this.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. So it's like the music gave you a platform, isn't it? It gave you that platform to realize that you needed more.
Yes, right.
Because you were making people happy.
Make people happy, yes.
Yes. No soul in the music. It's like there's no joy there, isn't it? But it wasn't enough for you.
It wasn't enough for me. It really.
You didn't feel like at that time you've arrived at your highest potential, or gives you that, that sort of inner joy, because sometimes we do things for maybe the money, for so many different reasons, but when is the true reason that you're made to do that? It's just an absolute joy, isn't it, when you found it?
Yeah, that's right, yes. You are very right. Because like I said, it wasn't something I planned or thought of doing. So it was something that, just came up by itself, and I put myself in. So whatever I did, there was not much fulfillment inside. Because that wasn't what I was looking for.
Were you going to church at that time while you were playing, entertaining?
I didn't even know what is church.
Right.
I was just playing around anyway. I knew it was church, but I wasn't serious with church.
So who led you through that door? Was he your friends? Was he a woman? Because in most cases, it must be one of the two, right? I'm just making a great joke.
Yes. You're very right. Yes. You see, when I became a musician, and I was playing this band, I had that within my heart, or maybe within my spirit, that I should move forward and do more for my own life, and it wasn't coming. And sometimes you follow the trend. What others are doing, you do them. So like I remember one day when I had not smoked marijuana before. I was smoking. I was a real typical smoker, really.
Okay.
But I didn't taste marijuana until one day when a friend of mine came, and then he just gave me 2 rolls.
Yes.
And said, just contract. So I went to the bush somewhere after we have finished our rehearsals. I took it to the bush, and I said, let me try this.
The fact that you took it to a bush, it's like you were so avoiding anyone to see you, right?
Yes, I didn't really want people to see I was going to do it. Yes.
Well, let's see what happens after that. Tell us.
So when I took the marijuana into the bush, and I blew just some few of it.
You didn't light up the forest, didn't you?
It didn't really, but it lit inside me instead. So when I was coming out, I saw a woman with a headload of banana.
Yeah.
And then she said, can we pick one of the bunch of it? So I took one bunch. And all that I can remember is that I ate just 2 pieces of the banana.
Right.
the rest of it, I can't tell you now where it went.
Yes.
So that is what started that kind of revival
Yes.
in marijuana inside me.
Yes.
So when I came out from the bush, and I meet up people, I could see people two in a way,
Yes.
and my foot does not even step on the ground,
Yes.
and I feel like the ground
Just
is
elevating.
breaking.
Right.
So I knew something was wrong.
Right.
There was somebody who was weeding, because this is a bush,
Yes.
African bush,
Yes.
so there are farmers everywhere.
Right.
So this man was weeding with a hoe,
Yeah.
and I don't know him from anywhere. And all that I could see is that I just said, "Hello, how are you? How be? How be?" You know, in Africa we say, "How be?"
Yeah.
That means, how are
Yeah.
you?
Yes.
Then he also put the hoe down and said, "Oh, he used. That means it is fine."
Yes.
So something told me that this is not right, because you don't even know him.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure about you stepping on and feeling that, the ground is opening up. That is not a great imagination. But the fact that you could hallow someone and it's not something that is a done deal, it's breaking the ice somehow, isn't it?
Yeah, it is breaking the ice, but
Yeah.
what you feel inside you.
Right. And after that,
Because
what
I had
happened?
I had not had that experience before.
Yes. Yes.
So I knew something was wrong.
right.
So I went into town. I had one. The other one was in my hand, and
Yes.
I met one of these bandsmen,
Uh-huh.
and I told him that I'm going to do some of the meeting, and I believe I'm just going crazy. so take me somewhere and hide me.
Right.
And I gave him the last one.
Okay.
So he took me to a house close to where our band is,
Right.
and he locked it.
Right. And then you slept, is it?
I couldn't sleep. Thoughts were coming here and there. So I'll be asking myself, why do you have to hold two mobile phones at the same time?
That's a justified question?
It's a very justified question.
Because you can answer
But-
both
but-
at the same time?
Yes, but I wouldn't finish,
Yeah.
and another question will come. So then I was just saying to myself, this is too serious. So what about when I walk out there? Now I know I've gone crazy.
Oh.
So would I be able to meet up with my friends, and would they embrace me? Would they
Oh,
welcome me?
I'm sure they will, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
So it followed for a time. I remember one day we went to somewhere to play,
Yes.
and I said I wasn't going to touch this thing any longer.
Right.
But when we went waiting for the band to start, for us to go and start off the band,
Yeah.
and then unfortunately for me,
Ah.
I went to meet these guys,
Yes.
and then they were going round. The row was going
Yes,
round.
yes.
So when it comes to my turn, I say, "That's okay. It's not for me. That's
Wow.
okay." And all of a sudden, I said, "Let me just take it again and try." So I smoked, and then this going crazy thing came up again on me.
Oh.
So when we started the band, I am the lead vocalist, so I will always have to, do hello, hello and all that.
Yes.
I did all the hello, hello thing, and then we started. And this song that I always play, my best song,
Yes.
when I started singing, I just couldn't continue to sing
Oh.
because I didn't even know where the rhythms are.
Oh.
The band was somewhere, and I was also singing my own thing. We
Oh.
were not communicating, and that was the cause of it. So they came and took the microphones from me and said, "No, you don't know that you are messing up."
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah, that is how it was. So anytime I go in and catch the marijuana, that's what it did for me. So I had to
Yeah.
seriously think.
No, I
about
think
that.
it's like, wow, experiences are different, isn't it? It's
See.
like going to a concert. One will say, "Man, this is fantastic concert. Wow, I love the band. Great." And other people thinking, "What are you talking about?" So there's different experiences within every experiences in life. I've smoked, and that's never been my experience, because probably there are people around, and it's a conflicting messages as well, especially depends on the environment, because like my environment is very affluent, so the message around cannabis or marijuana is very negative, was a message of like madness, really, like losing your brain and
Yes, sir,
everything. But it seemed to see if when the more you grow up, like maybe one of your parents somehow secretively, I'm talking about in Africa,
Yeah.
they've tried it. And it's just this fear of negative madness that they put around. So, you know, I of course had an experience of those messages, as well as seeing or hearing, get to know about some family member that you would not really expect to be doing that. And they're so affluent. And you're thinking, this is conflicting here.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm kind of from that environment.
Yeah.
But it was a choice that I made without any influence, I mean, directly like that. So, of course, I mean, alcohol elevates one appetite to become much more loose and relaxed and feeling more lighter. And food can make you tired, energized, and make you sleep and make you move on. But it is unfortunate that your experience was it a message that was coming through you? I mean, coming around you like my one, where you have people saying, if you do this, if you smoke this, you're going to get mad. Was it that kind of message was coming through you when you actually partake of it?
No, because with my family,
Yeah.
nobody was smoking actually.
Sure.
So like it was me standing on my own and then doing my own thing.
But what about the message in the society from, like, you know, the church? I mean, you would say at that time, or, you know, yeah, the society, elders.
Yeah. No, I didn't have any confrontation at all. Because like I was myself, like I'm saying.
So what was your knowledge about it before you smoke it? Like, what do you think it does to people? What was your knowledge?
Yeah, in fact, when I didn't know how people felt until I went in.
Yeah.
And my experience
Yeah.
that I had after going in
Yeah.
taught me that this is not your thing.
It's interesting you talk about the banana.
Yes.
You know, you had a bunch of banana, but
Yes.
you realize you ate two,
I ate
but the rest you don't know where they
Up to now, I'm just thinking.
I think, my Roger, it just opened up your appetite, you know, Pastor Fred. Unbelievably.
Yeah. That's what happened. So yeah, I looked at it that it's not my thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you at that moment, because now we can see, you know, the progression into where you are now.
Yeah.
So that moment, that sort of conflict, because it then becomes a conflict, isn't it? It's not
Yes,
like
sir.
you're enjoying it anymore.
Yeah.
Where does that lead you? Does that lead you to the church, or how does that kind of lead you to find your way out of that?
Yeah, because it didn't work for me. So I had to drop that, and I did. But with smoking, I couldn't. Because, I mean, you don't smoke and go crazy. You just feel like you have to, and then I did. Like smoking, I tried to stop smoking because I could smoke 2 packets a day,
Cigarette.
cigarettes
Okay.
a day.
That was not a problem at all.
That wasn't a problem at all.
Okay.
But that one I wanted to stop also, but I couldn't.
Yes.
I could stop maybe for 4 weeks, and at the end of the 4 weeks, if somebody is smoking, then probably he passes by my window, and then the smell just goes through. I will follow you until you give me a piece of it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I tried and I couldn't stop until you know I got to know the Lord and I got saved.
So tell us about that journey, because this is like the journey of Paul.
Yeah.
You know, you're not like Paul living, you know, that's not what you've explained, but is a transformation.
It is.
Because a habit like that, a lot of people who've smoked and give up, and a lot of people who are smoking and trying to give up, is a struggle. I think that is the greatest battle. You can talk about political battle or whatever. I think to stop an habit that you've been doing for such a long time,
Yeah.
is a great eternal battle. Forget about anything else around you.
Seriously.
So tell us about that transformation, how you get to that point where nothing else can... You've tried. You know, we tried, isn't it? Like, you can lock yourself in, but the moment you come out,
Go back.
it's all around you.
Yes, right.
So tell us about that point,
Yes.
that transformation there, because
Yes.
it's not easy.
Yes, it is not easy at all. That's what it is. It's not easy, and the journey is too long, so I can't talk about the other stages.
Mm-hmm.
But you want me to tell us about how the transition started.
Yes.
But yeah, it was when, like I said, our band used to play for people who are doing abalabi, the Muslims. When they finish their fasting, they hire us to go and play for
Right.
them and all other things. So one of the engagement that we had was to play for the Muslims.
Right.
So we had finished, packing our instruments, and then, I was there just trying, hello, 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 and then the security man came and said that there's a church down there,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time, they are also doing their worship. So we can't do,
Your
use
music.
the music at the same time.
Yeah.
Because there will be a conflict. So I should, because I was the one doing the hello and
Yeah.
calling everybody to come. So I should let them finish up with their service.
Yeah.
And then we can start off.
Yeah.
And seriously, I thought that I have to go and disturb the people for them to finish and go. Because the money has come. We need to grab the money and go.
Yes.
And then when we wait and they go, we have lost it. And who causes it? It is the church. So I have to go down there and then cause a mess for them to stop their church thing. So, so at the door of the church
Yeah.
was a lotto kiosk.
Right.
And I just saw myself standing right at the lotto kiosk, just at the entrance of the door. And as if somebody have gone to tell the preacher to preach me.
Okay.
So everything that he was preaching was me.
Right.
But we were not in contact. He was in the church, in the
Yes.
podium. I was even standing just by the kiosk.
Yes.
And then he preached from Lamentations chapter 3, verse 27.
And you never forget that.
I can't forget.
Lamentation.
Yes, 3 and verse 27. And it says, it is good for a man
Uh-huh.
to bear the yoke in his youth.
Right.
It is good for the man to bear the yoke in his youth. So I'm a youth. What yoke are you bearing? Is it the yoke of despair or a yoke of freedom?
Right.
And then he was talking about young men who think life is just so easy, so they keep going. So, he was talking to me.
Yes.
And I remember when he was talking, the whole thing was hitting me like bullets. And I knew he was talking to me.
Right.
And our band used to do more of our show in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
So one time we went to Burkina Faso, we bought some of these costumes from Burkina Faso, and the earrings, the nose jewels,
Yes.
those bracelets and all that. The Burkina type, and I had all of them. So I used that for the show.
Yes.
And when this message was coming to me, I knew that was my time.
Wow.
Because
Yeah.
I had reached a point of my life that I knew that I needed God in my life. I knew that my life was gone, completely gone. And I saw myself that I'm useless. But I know if I have God on my side, I'm able to make it. So as the preacher was preaching to me that I should bear my yoke, I knew that it was my time now to give up. So that day was my day to repent and to go into seeking for God. So after they have finished, the church had finished,
Yes.
and the bandsmen were calling me to go to the stage to call people to come because.
Go on.
And I said, "Not
You're
this-
serious?
Not this time."
You're calling for the money?
Yes.
And I look at you.
This is me now.
They can't believe you, can't they?
How can they believe me?
But what happened then? Did you actually finally say, okay, this is my last one?
When I said it was my last one, I went to take up my coat. I had a certain coat.
You didn't play at all?
I couldn't. I couldn't because.
And what happened after that? Did you went to see the pastor?
I went to see the pastor, but not just there.
Right.
Because they were at church. They have finished church. I have to go home.
Yes.
So I went home, and when I went home, and I heard the voice of God telling me that it is your time, change, and come to me.
What year are we talking about?
I'm talking about the 1980.
1980.
1980.
And then since that time, 2 years after that, you were
Yes.
ordained as a resident pastor.
Yes.
After your theological training at the Fountain Gate Bible Seminary
Yes.
in Ghana.
In Ghana. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So, when I got saved and I started going to church, people couldn't believe that me, of all, I can go to church.
Were you smoking cigarette at that time, or had you stopped? Or was that day that you...
That day,
Right.
I don't know how it left till now. I didn't know how it left.
The words,
And I
yeah?
know it was the power of God.
The word,
The
yeah?
word
It's
that
powerful,
came.
isn't it?
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So, you know,
So-
the word can only come through man or woman.
Anybody
Yeah.
who is a vessel carry the word,
Yeah.
and then when it is spoken, it have effect on you. So that effect that it had on me made me to come out of the shackles were just broken. And that night, I felt the following day I should start doing fasting and prayer.
Right. But you had no church.
I had no choice.
No, you had no church.
I had no church.
Yeah.
At that
you know.
time,
Uh-huh.
yes. But the whole thing is you're looking at the Holy Spirit.
And you wasn't even like in an environment of a church where you can say, okay, this is what they do. And how did you know about fasting and praying and fasting?
When God comes in,
Yeah.
now He resides in you, and you become a vessel. And all of a sudden, He begins to tell you what you need to do and direct you to where you have to go. And He spoke to me. I knew it was God who spoke to me. So the following day, I started fasting. I fasted for 3 days. And from there, I became born again completely. So in my community where they knew me, and my stage name was Apollo.
Apollo.
Yes. Smart Apollo. If you meet me and you say smart, I say,
Apollo.
no, I say hallelujah.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know what hallelujah was, but
Yeah.
I just say hallelujah.
Yes.
Yes. So smart Apollo, I said hallelujah. So my people, they knew me very well.
Yeah.
And I remember the following day that I said I wanted to fast and pray. I didn't have any Bible. So there's a woman in our house who is really a good Christian. So I went to ask her, please, can you give me a Bible? And she gave me a Bible, and I went outside. There's a tree, a mango tree, where people go and refresh themselves when they want. Some women also who sell, they go there and they sit and they sell their stuff. But that day, they didn't come. Nobody came down there.
Right.
So that was where I went and I sat. And I was sitting and reading the Bible. And like something says, look around you. So I looked around me and I saw people opening their windows and looking at Apollo with the Bible in their hand.
That actually happened?
It did.
It's not imagination anymore.
No,
This is real.
No. Yes. Yes. So how can Apollo have a Bible and read? So one of them came and said, no, Apollo, this is Bible.
Don't play with it.
We don't play with it.
Yeah. Because, you know what I mean? They don't know if
Yes.
you're now a stage man, as a
Yes.
comedian now.
Yes. You don't play with Bible. So afterward, one time I was just thinking about this scenario and I said, oh my God, I now know why I had to look for God and I found God. Because if anybody or everybody can read the Bible and Apollo can't even touch the Bible, then I was really lost.
Well, I mean, your story is incredible because in the space of 10 years, from 1980, you're talking about, and then 2 years on, like I said, you went to, you was ordained as a resident pastor at the Fountain Gate Bible Seminary, and also you attained a bachelor of the ministerial theology degree, all in Ghana. But in 1990, something happened.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that because now you've given us a lot of context as to where you are now and the things that you've been doing so far. So 1990, we're going to come to what happened in 1990. Let's take a sound that I'm sure you're really going to love, and all the listeners that are in your ministry and also God-fearing listeners. This is from the Super Sweet Talks.
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Oh Lord. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Oh Lord. Father, forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptations, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil. Oh Lord. Father, for thy is the kingdom, the power and the glory. Have mercy upon us. Give us more blessings forever and ever. Forever and ever. we are more. Amen. Father, for thy is the kingdom, the power and the glory. Have mercy upon us. Give us more blessings forever and ever. Forever and ever.
Super Sweet Talks International, the Lord's Prayer. You're listening to Feferity Radio. My name is Freestyle, and my special guest, Apostle Fred Osei Annin. Did you enjoy that, Pastor?
I did. This morning, when we were having our family morning devotion,
Yes.
this is what my wife gave to encourage us.
All right.
The kingdom prayer of Father.
Yes.
So it's exciting, really.
Absolutely.
Exciting, yes.
So, before 1990, you worked at the Gospel Church in Tima.
Yes.
How was that? And what was your position there at that time?
Full Gospel. Full Gospel is a mega church. In fact, it's one of the pioneering Pentecostal churches in Ghana. And my church, where I was at that time, we were about 4 or 5 pastors, and everybody had the opportunity to lead one of the works that we do. And my role was to do the youth ministry and also the worship ministry. Because when I left the band, as I said, now I came into the gospel music. And I was the lead person that was leading the worship.
Right.
That's what I said to you, that I was always thinking if I had the opportunity to learn the drum
Instrument, yeah.
instrument. Yeah. So what happened is that everybody has a role to play. And this time on, we had a team from Chalk Farm Baptist Church, because we were affiliated to that church. So they came on missionary work.
Right.
And that night where we had our prayer meeting where they attended, the prayer went very well. People were blessed. Things happened. And on the Sunday morning, the last Sunday for them to go, I led the worship.
Right.
And when I stood and I took the microphone and I began to sing, and the church followed on, and then we started praising God. And then God came down. So they just, after the service, told me, Fred,
You mean the Spirit of God came down?
the Spirit of the Lord came down.
Yes.
You see, when people are happy, when people are liberated, when people are really had time
Says
with
when
the
2 or
Lord,
3 are gathered, there is a great energy feel.
energy filled, because
Yes.
He is present.
Yes.
So that awesome presence of God came.
Yes.
And so after the service, then they called me for a meeting, and they said, Fred, when we go back to London, we're gonna invite you to come and visit us, so you can be talking more on worship, because we don't have this kind of experience when we worship.
Right.
So you will be teaching us.
What did
Wow.
they say?
They said they will invite me to the UK,
Yes.
so that I will be teaching people
To teach.
to teach.
That's a very key word, because you don't hear that often from no African expert coming into the West to teach.
That's the point.
Yeah.
So the time came, and of course they just bought a ticket for me, and I came down. And in fact, they took me almost everywhere in England.
Mhm.
Every church that they have affiliated themselves, they made sure that I've visited that church.
Mhm. And he was interviewed by the Cross Rhythm magazine, isn't
The
it?
Cross Reading Magazine,
Because of that.
because of that. And it is still there on their website.
Mhm.
So that tells you the power that, God used me to bring over here.
Mhm.
But anywhere that we go,
Mhm.
God will give a message to somebody
Mhm.
to tell me that, Fred, when you go back to Ghana, I will bring you back here to do something unique, something very, very profound.
Mhm.
But that which I was coming to do, I didn't know.
Right.
Well, God speaks, and He has spoken.
Mhm.
So when I left and I went back to Ghana, and after some time praying, and God said, it is time for you now to go back to do your assignment.
Mhm.
And miraculously, He opened the door for me to have a ticket. I came down here as Abraham. God said, go, leave your family, your kindred, and go and set up something for my kingdom. It was like my time.
Right.
I have to obey.
Yeah.
So I just came. I didn't have anywhere to sleep. I just came.
Oh, no, hold on now. The Chalk Farm Baptist
Yes.
Church invited you.
Yes.
So, I mean, they're capable of finding you somewhere to sleep.
Yes.
Yes.
So let me come back to that point,
Okay.
because this time they didn't invite me.
Okay, so you went,
Yes.
I mean, after that invite,
Yes.
and then you came on your own.
I came on my own.
Okay.
Yes. So, and even as you have put me to this point,
Yeah.
it was just a friend of mine who promised me that when I come over, and when I reach to Heathrow, I should give him a call. He will come and pick me from the airport.
Right.
If it is tomorrow that he's gonna pick me up,
It's not
I
here
didn't
yet.
know how to. I called him. His line was off. So I had to call these Baptist people who never knew I've come,
Right.
and then they were the ones that were able to manage to get me back to their residence. So I was saying I had nowhere to sleep. 'Cause
Right.
it had not been for them, I would have been at Heathrow still by this time.
So that is like reality number one check,
Yes.
where previously when you came here, the respect and that you received was very overwhelming, and you thought that your friend could do the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you find out why? I mean, that never happened. He never came to pick you up.
I didn't find out why, because at this time, I found a place. The Chalk Farm has become now my home, and because they didn't even know I was coming, that is why they didn't make any arrangement for me.
Sure.
So if it had not been like I've found myself,
You've
in
made
a
some good
situation,
friends, yeah.
That's right. Yes, they wouldn't have even known that I'm in London. So immediately they heard Michael, when he heard that I'm here, said, "Are you sure I'm coming to pick you up?" It took less than an hour,
Right.
and indeed he came and picked him up. So yeah, that is how it is. The first time I had that opportunity,
Yeah.
but this time the opportunity was gone. Yeah, and I had to fight and just get my way through by myself, just believing God by faith. Yes. So that is what happened.
And then 7 years on, so when you went back to Ghana,
Yes.
that was how long did you stay here the first time you came? 1990.
I stayed for about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
Yes, because like I said, they had to put me in so many places to go and then
Yeah.
teach, and then also to lead people into this worship. So I overstayed. Actually, I was supposed to have stayed for I think 3 months,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
the
So that was
assignment
sorted out anyway by the
yes,
church. isn't
Yes,
it?
yeah. That
So
was
when you
sorted.
went back to Ghana, how long you stayed there before you returned?
It took me less than a year.
Okay.
It took me less than a year.
So 1991, 92, you were back here.
Yes.
And then, say 5 years after that, you founded the Action Plus Foundation, UK-based faith charity
Yes.
organization, yes?
Yes.
And that was specifically to kind of like to prevent, to facilitate and prevention of HIV infection.
Yes.
Among black and ethnic minority communities. That's all?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the BAM community, yes.
So what that is incredible, in fact, to be having such a rapid progression and development, and also the desire to continue to improve yourself and challenge yourself.
Yes.
That is commendable. So why Action Plus Foundation specifically geared towards prevention of HIV infection in the UK?
Yeah. In fact, if personally, probably if I knew this was what I was coming to do this time, I think would have taken me time for me to respond.
Right.
But because God had already pre-programmed my coming, and He knew that the vacuum that was there to be filled, there wouldn't be anybody more than me. So He had to do in a way that I wouldn't get it straight away. The message will have to go round till I come back and discover. So, like I said, when I came, I didn't know what, if you tell every pastor God is going to lift you to another standard, you think He's going to have you to do crusades and you see miracles, the blind seeing. And
Did you know about HIV in Ghana? The increase?
I didn't know nothing about HIV until I came to this country. So even with Action Plus, we didn't just start with HIV.
Okay.
Because for me, I believe that God is love. And so if we call ourselves God's children, we have to have love.
Yeah.
For our neighbors, love for people around us, the vulnerable. So I started a church. And in the church, we had to have in our mind the charity as well. Because a church that does not have a charitable heart have missed the calling. Because we have to give to the community. What we give to the community is what brings the community to God, for them to know that God is love for real. So church shouldn't be where you just go and sing and dance and hear the word of God, give offering, and then you go home. Church should be a place where we have to open up for the vulnerable people.
So basically, the olden days, that's how it used to be. That's why they used to collect money for the Levites, isn't it?
That's
because it was a 24-hour, not Tesco's. And there are many more as well that open 24 hours.
Yes.
But isn't the church supposed to be open in 24 hours because of the kind of resources that come through the door?
Yes. And those resources are not for our enrichment. It's not for us to satisfy ourselves and, feel like we are okay and that is it. The resources come for us to give. God gave us to give. So I had that in my mind, that our church will have that spirit of giving. So when I started, it wasn't Action Plus, it was called Newman Outreach Ministries.
Okay.
Newman Outreach Ministries. So within the ministry, we have the Newman Church, and then we have also the Newman Community Link. The Newman Community Link is what is the charity that we have to link out to the community, so that when we go out there, we will not just be looking at ourselves that we are good, but looking at people who are impacted by situations that they can't help them, that they can't help themselves. So this is what our ministry was about. So we were doing so many things. We were doing, youth programs, health programs, where like eat well, live well. We teach people how they can live well by eating good food, eating something that will bless their bodies. At that time in Sadok, obesity was growing, and we had to tackle that obesity. I think Sadok was the leading obesity country or community in the whole of Europe. We had this teenage pregnancy as well. Those days we could see children, little children, 12 years old, 14 years old, carrying babies in the bush.
It's interesting you talk about obesity because it's something that you don't hear much, a program much from the church, because the church kind of promotes every kind of food. You know, especially when you go into African activities or ceremony or services where there are ceremonies, and after that, you know, you've got all kind of food on the table. But the church is not a one place that really preach about what you meant to eat or what you're supposed to eat. So it's interesting that you mentioned that, saying that it is something that you felt that needs to tackle by the church.
Yes, because it was a big issue, you know, for the community and even for the government. And we have been blessed to have the people coming to us. So if we have this opportunity, then we need to minister, because that is what we do. So we were doing all kinds of, you know, projects to support the community until HIV came up. HIV came up when I realized that the church wasn't keen to talk about HIV. And so for that reason, you know, the healthcare providers were not able to intervene. And looking at that time, and even now, Lambeth being the highest prevalent community in the whole of the UK, and then seconded by Sadok, and even Lewisham also being the 8th borough in London, that carries the highest prevalence of the infection. And this infection rate is among the Black African community, and the Black African community are the second to the MSM community, who are the leading community with the height of the prevalence, and the Black African community is the second to this community. So that means that we have to do something to make sure that the infection rate will not grow much in the African community. And so that is where I got that understanding that we have to change that order. And the worst thing was that most churches were not ready, you know, to allow HIV intervention in the churches, because they see people living with HIV as people who are cursed of God.
So that was, you know, that's a very good point as well, because the church always is seen as a place of innocence and purity.
Yes.
That for people that goes into church, apart from people that cry poverty and some kind of illness, you don't know really what people are going in there for, what their situation or problem is. So it's about the church recognize that the members in the church are contracting, infected by HIV, not actually people from outside the church. Is that so?
Yeah, that is the thing. But the church didn't see it that way. That, you know, people who are in the church who have contracted the illness or the disease, or, you know, the virus or whatever you call it, you know, are people that need that attention. They then need that support and care. And all this come when people have that understanding. But then at that time, ignorance had become something that had, you know, taken away that kind of virtue that the church has. And it has brought in, instead of love, stigma, discrimination. People who are, you know, in the church that are looking for support can't get them, because those who have the keys wouldn't allow people to come and talk about HIV, because they see HIV differently. They see people living with HIV as people who lead promiscuous life, because they didn't know the mode of the transmission, and lack of knowledge was a factor at that time, and it was eating into the ministry in a way that many people were not having that care and that support. Some were excommunicated. Yeah.
So what was the challenges that you faced at that time trying to put this message through?
It was a mountain. It is a mountain, and I had to pick this one up, and then just believe God, because when I prayed about it, and God said to me, that's the reason why I brought you here. You see, the reason why I brought you here is to lead, to champion, so that my people that are being stigmatized, that are being rejected, they will see my love. So your assignment is to do what I've called you to do. And like I'm talking with you now, and God came down talking to me, and like him begging me, said, these were my people, and I love them. So please, it is not going to be easy for you, but I will be with you. And who am I when God is begging me? God begging me.
I find it interesting. That is me. This is freestyle anyway. So if I'm laughing, this is just freestyle because, my thought sometimes just goes along with the narrative. So I had to smile. So God begging you to do this.
Yes.
And what was man's challenge? Because you're in England, and because I remember years ago, same time when a doctor from Uganda by the name of Professor Sally, he created a Marendina supplement, something that was helping people with HIV, because it's all about immune system.
Yes.
And at that time, the narrative was some monkey or something like that.
Sure.
That happens in Africa and all. Now everybody knows the truth. So it was a kind of suppression from the reality of the pharmaceutical company, what they've done, the scientific world, what they've created. So it was a cover-up. At the same time, there was this idea to make it sound like Africans were the one to blame, and then they blamed the homosexuals after that, and then so on and so forth. So what challenges did you face from the big people in the church at that time to talk about it as a problem within the church, not as a problem outside, but as a problem that you recognize within the church? Yes. How difficult was that?
See, the difficult I had, right from the onslaught, I had the support of the people, because at the end we were doing multiple projects, to support the work of the community. So HIV wasn't singled out. Until when I took this bold step to say that, look, this is what it is. God brought me here to do this, and I have to do it in a way.
Was there an incident that prompted you to take this project, like talking about this issue among member in the church, not specifically your church, but members in the church? Was this something that came up that prompted you to engage in?
I mean, I had a lot of those people, because when we started and now we move forward now, they've seen they have got a father, somebody they can talk to, somebody they can share with. That one was there. But myself as a person, the whole thing put me in a place where I have to decide for my faith, because I don't see why God is love. We preach God is love. And if God is love, his love is a kind of love that surpasses all other love. God's love is agape love. God's love is I love you for who you are. When we were yet sinners, Christ Jesus came and died for us. He's the message. Because he loves us. For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever will believe in him will not perish but have everlasting life. It's all about love. So if it is about God being God of love, why can't we love people who carry HIV? Because some of them even don't even know how they contracted the infection. And then we look at them as people who are cursed. they have this challenge, they have this situation, they need love, and there's nowhere they can go but the church, because they know God is there. And then we shut the door behind them. So that was what really convicted me, and I said, no, God can't do this. And this has to change.
Yeah. That is so true. I want to send a shout there to Zokia. Says he couldn't log in, but I've sent you the details. I mean, it's quite very simple. You go on the website, the link. You go on the radio page and you see the play button. You just press that, which is just above the donation page, and off you go. And we're also available on Radio Garden and online Radio UK. So many links, but it's quite easy and simple. I hope you've now logged in safe and sound. Shall we take a track from Sylvia Taylor? This is a UK lovers rock artist.
Okay.
Very, very, very good. This track is entitled When He Came Into My Life.
Okay.
So it's a bit of reggae now. Well, this is like the first track, like what's going on is there. I received this EP from her this week. Sylvia Taylor, what's going on? What's going on? Sylvia Taylor, one of UK's finest lovers rock artists. If things goes well, she will be at the Ritzy We'll shout there to cover What's Going On. That's Marvin Gaye there, isn't it? So you're a soul man, isn't it?
It
so all of these tunes you're very familiar with.
Connect. It does. Because the music is something that you can't get rid of. You know, and when it eats you up, you always want to hear more. Yeah, so, yeah, I love music. I do.
Music is the soul, isn't it?
It's a soul. It carries your spirit somewhere you can't go by yourself. Music will take you. Music will take you higher. It does.
You know, here also, my special guest, we're live on YouTube, so shout there to Sir James Walton Ingram. He says, beautiful, great show. And what an engaging conversation. Thank you very much, sir. Always supporting. We're live on Feferity London YouTube channel. And whilst you're there, if you haven't subscribed yet, we're growing, you know, so please make sure you subscribe and put your notification on and like and all of that. Thank you very much. So my special guest, Apostle Fred Osei Annin. You said here the church is the rightful place to organize regular health education and campaign. But at the same time, you wanted to say most pastors didn't have any knowledge about sexual health issues.
Yes.
Is that so?
That's true.
I mean, we've seen a lot of scandal and allegations made and also prosecutions as well within the church about sexual abuse. We've recently heard from the Catholic, you know, they've made several apologies, writing letters to so many people of this same behavior. Yes, maybe the church is the rightful place, you know, to organize a regular health education and campaign. I agree with that. But the second part, to say that the pastors didn't have any knowledge about sexual health issues. How do you explain that?
Yeah, because the reason why I thought that we could have gotten this message right is that you are looking at a challenge, a situation where the infection hasn't got a cure, you know, and it's something that we have to battle. The battle we're battling is to get people's understanding to know that HIV is not the end of life. And nobody could do this much better than the pastor, who is the shepherd, as we call pastors. You know, the person that is called to, you know, lead the people to greener pastures. They have all the antidote. They have all the strength to bring these people's life back. But here we are when, you know, somebody gets, you know, infected, and then your pastor will tell you that you are no good, and that is why this infection has come on you. That should be ignorance, because at the end of the day, even medical treatment that we're looking at is though helping people. But even medicine hasn't reached that point of time whereby we can say that when you get the infection, you get the cure. And so, if we are supposed to be the people who will be managing this kind of programs for the people who are into this kind of challenging situation, and we back off. We don't want to know, we don't want to intervene. And then we want the people to struggle because, you know, when people don't get what they want, they do other things. And can you believe a pastor will tell you that I'm not comfortable with what you are bringing up? He's not.
What is their reasons for that?
He's not comfortable because it doesn't seem that it is right for him to intervene. So he doesn't feel like he should even enjoy this kind of conversation. Looking at a pastor having about 2,000 people on Sunday morning, and he has the power to release these people to find this kind of knowledge, and he's not comfortable.
Again, this is what I'm saying, because when it comes to sexual activities in the church, it is not a game that is oblivious from the outside world. I think people from, the outside world do know the tendencies of the church. So I'm quite really surprised. This is why I ask about some of the challenges, because I know it's not the place, because when you have all these allegations coming out and you see all these behaviors from men who stood in front of people behaving like in this way, is it a fear of the things that they've done as credible members of the church? Is this reason something that's preventing them from taking up those challenges?
Yes, there are reasons, because if God comes into something, it brings a different perspective. It changes the whole atmosphere. And if somebody have believed that this is God doing this, and that person have faith in God, and he believes that he loves God, and this is what God doesn't like, to convince that person to change the mindset, it will take God himself to do that. And that was my mountain to climb. Okay. Because they have a belief. They have somebody said that I know what I know. So why are you coming here to tell me this? But then what I'm coming to tell you is that which will set the people free. What about when somebody comes to you and then he says to you, as somebody who has HIV, and he says to you that you don't need to take your medication. I'll pray for you and the prayer will heal you. And people stop taking their medication. And at the end of the day, their challenges overwhelms them and they die. We've had a lot of all these things happening not far from here, right in Sadok. We saw people dying because somebody's prayer will heal you. But prayer is good for everybody. But there are certain things that God have given to us that wouldn't take prayer. The doctors have been empowered of God, to manage certain things that is natural. And when they come up to tell us that this is what is going to help you, you need to do your tests. And then you do your tests, and it comes positive. Somebody else will take it up from there to help you, to support you. And then we have got good treatment that is teaching people how they can prolong their lives. And this is what is the most important thing that we need to do.
So tell us about, because we can sit here and talk about these negatives from the church and some credible members, but tell us about the programs that Actioplus UK is offering.
Yes. So, when we realized that this situation is something that, we can handle them, we had to go for it. We had challenges. Coming from Africa to set up an NGO for a British man. Have that happened before? Yes, people come and they work charities, but just coming down, like God sent me to come here to set up such a profound ministry was a very challenge and overwhelming. But we realized that it was that which we needed to do, because like me as a person, my life was in it, because I wanted to make sure that the cry that that God was crying that day to me when I was praying in Sadok. have managed in a way to be obedient, and it is working. So we set up programs to train the pastors. And we were able to manage to get some few pastors to come up for the training. And this training has become something that is a cutting edge that has brought the infection rate down. It is because as much as it is, we were the first organization in this country and even in Ghana to open HIV testing centers in churches.
Really?
Where, I mean, it is a no-go zone. But we have managed by this project to open HIV testing centers.
This is happening in Ghana?
It's happening here in UK.
And how is the participation of that? How's the awareness? How is the involvement?
It's going very, very well. Because, like I said to you, God will prepare somebody to lead. I didn't know that God wanted me to come here until, I saw myself into it. So who the cap fit? He should wait. So everything that God had put into me before even I came from the invitation of Chalk Farm Baptist Church is in this project. So the management of the whole thing, the wisdom, I mean, the way to get the people to test came all by itself. And we get people test. We have tested people from the church in Lambeth, in Sadok, in Lewisham. We've tested people in Barking, tested people in Haringey. We're testing people in Luton. And our work is across the country.
Very incredible.
It is.
But when you talk about the church, and you talk about faith, prayer, hope, belief, dedication, and you talk about HIV and testing in church, isn't that contrary to what the church is about? I mean, you will not expect the church to be engaging in testing in the church. Does that send the wrong message to people outside the church?
It would have before our intervention. But like I was saying, I mean, there was a package. Me coming down here wasn't to come and sing any longer, to teach people how to clap hands and dance. Me coming here was something very, very important, because the BAM community, they belong to the church community. Most of people that go to church are all Africans. And these Africans, God says, they are my children. I haven't put no curse in them, on them, so that you have that power, that key. And so when we had that power and that key, we started by training the pastors, as I said. So we have a model we use. This model is called Take Action Now. Take Action Now is a model that, we have developed in a way that it connects us to, the people that are, I mean, in partnership with HIV prevention in the country. You're looking at the pastors, you're looking at people living with HIV, you're also looking at the healthcare systems. The professional clinicians who know how to test and know who is positive or negative. We all work together within this project called Take Action Now. We all work together. For Action Plus, before we were able to get testers to test for us, we were working with the hospitals. So our work is to make sure that we prepare the people enough to understand that it is expedient, because testing is the key for prevention. So when we are able to get this message across, and you want your life back, you wouldn't sit back and say that I'm waiting any longer. So the take action now is we take that action now. The prevention action, we take them, we talk about HIV, we make people to understand all the pros and cons of HIV infection and the treatment that goes with it. We do everything all at the same time.
I mean, this is go on, sorry.
So at the end of it all, then the tests have to be done the same day, the same time. Because what we didn't want to say to people is that, because like during those days, the HIV prevention method was just to signpost people, to the gun centers so that people can go by themselves. But trust me, because of the stigma, people didn't want to test. So if you tell them that go to A, B, and C and go and get tested, they won't go to test. But when the testing center is right within the church, I mean, you have no excuse. And that is the key we were using at that time. So to get the people tested, we set the testing center right there in the church.
That is incredible. In fact, your model used by the Action Plus Foundation, like you said, has removed ignorance, stigma, and the fear of really of HIV in the church.
Yes, it has. And also, like,
does that really sort of hinders people's faith? Because then the idea of testing and realize that, okay, I'm positive, does that kind of hinder somebody's faith within the church, where then prayer is of no more significance but treatment?
Because the thing is, like I said, if you tell them go and get tested, nobody will go getting tested. So we have to bring the testing center right here. And that which even have helped us a lot within this model is that we understand the African way of life. There are many people who have come to this country to work. And so people don't have time. Like I always say, some don't even have time even to read. They don't even listen to the news. You go to work, we come tired, you sleep. The following morning you are going to, because you are here to make money and go. So how do you go out looking for a HIV testing center?
And also you've, trained pastors. Now they've discovered the true meaning of their calling. And, at the same time, members of the church, they've improved, their knowledge about, the exercise, isn't it?
Yes.
The model that you're using.
Yes. That has helped us a lot because, when the pastors come to understand, where they are, what they have to do, and then they believe in it and then they buy into it, it helps. It speeds up the process. And that is why we thought that it's very expedient. So let us do it that way. We don't have to rush into anything, but let people get to know what it is about.
So now that people are aware that they are positive and prayer is not really a thing that will change, do you offer any form of counseling programs?
We do that. The counseling it's something, somebody want to talk to you. Like this didn't happen, not here, but it happened in Ghana, where somebody who is a pastor himself, got the HIV, and then the wife also got the HIV, and there were sort of sicknesses that were prevailing, so they had to go to do the test, and the test came positive. And when it came positive, and then he thought, this is too much, it's overwhelming, let us go and then call on our pastor and come home, and then we tell him about this so he can speak to us and give us some kind of comfort to move our life on. So they said they went to see this pastor. The pastor came to their sitting room. And then they said, we went to the doctor, and the doctor said that we are both positive. And the first word he said is that, John, you have disappointed me. So you can't work with me. And he left. He just left them. And coming this first Sunday after this, he went to the podium, and the message was about their challenge, and announced to the church that the pastor and the wife are having HIV. So we can't make them to be part of us any longer.
So that's like a public shaming.
That is the point. So
it's not a good way to go about it, isn't it?
that's it. And that same day they were excommunicated. and then they were thrown out of church, including their children.
But the church is good to throw people out, isn't it? I mean, this is what I was saying about the Bible is so complicated.
I mean, how do you do that?
Well, I mean, the thing is,
how do you throw somebody out?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not a new behavior. It's the behavior of the Bible, if I can put it that way. And probably not the behavior of the Bible, because the church is about the Bible. But when you see God lashed out at the Garden of Eden for the very first time, the children that He created, and they disobeyed for the very first time, and He threw them out. Is that have a correlation? I mean, this is freestyle. This is what you call fiti-fata, right?
Sure. But remember, God told them something that they don't have to do.
Well, so is the church, because He said, the 10 Commandments, clearly, which of course nowadays churches is like too much. I mean, let's just go for one. Love your neighbor as yourself. So when I come and tell you, like, I love you, it's like, oh, freestyle love me. Oh. Next thing is next thing. So we've now conflicting love, I mean, about lustful desires. So it's not a new place for the church to be like that. But it's just that they rush to hide their shame. This is why probably I find what you're doing very commendable. And I ask about the challenges, because the church is so quick to hide the whole shame about itself or herself, and actually point it out to the community, to their members, and they don't take responsibility for it at all. So what you're doing, I think, is credible, because many people who are now living with HIV in churches are empowered by your training and counseling programs, and they're now becoming active and taking part in campaigns and all of that. So they're not ostracized as, other churches have done. You've helped to change, the life of people within the community and within the church.
Yes. Yeah. So let's go back to the Garden of Eden again. Mm-hmm. See, God is a God of principle in a way. And in His principle, like talked about 10 commandments, there are some do's and don'ts. And if God says it, it's fine. But God having said something, and then you put it on the mouth of God and say, this is God, that was the error. Because of ignorance, you see the thing with your eyes, and because what you believe is that because this person have done that and that.
No,
and at the end of the day, you don't even know.
I do get that.
You don't know how people constructed it. You don't even know how people
but
are
again, God
managing
says, adultery, fornication. I mean, if the people have had time to digest adultery, fornication, what that consists of, probably the rationale of the pastor was right. You could look at it like that, because like you're saying about Garden of Eden, if God has warned, of course He has. But for the first time, I mean, we don't know how old Adam and Eve were before breaking that law. But, you can say they were quite old enough, and for the first time. So for me, I'm not saying, I'm just kind of looking at the rationale, as in not exclusively out of reach as a behavior from, in the church, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, let's now look at what you've established so far as a foundation, the Action Plus.
Yeah.
Here in the UK, you've established with a local organization, Public Health England, pastors and churches across London, Luton, Ghana, and many other parts, in Africa. That is a massive growth, isn't it, of the organization?
Yes, you're right. Very, very massive. And, when you start something small, and at least you give God time, He caused them to mature and grow. So, like, I have that as a ministry. It's a call. Mm-hmm. Like, the calling was just something that I didn't plan People who even saw it before even I got to know it. And once I bought into it, it has to function. It has to grow all by itself. And you are looking at even the challenges of us even having the resources to manage it. And this is not a 1 year project. It's not a 2 years project. It's taken us 24 years non-stop. And you don't stop. It's a running experience. And it had no, resource to carry it going. The only resource we have is God and faith. So I always sometimes ask people, if a car that has got no petrol is running faster than that which has loaded, the car to the full, then there must be something behind it. Because you are looking at such a small organization. It's not big. Can you believe that since I started, I've not even managed to employ one staff for 24 years.
So that is a skill that most people who are engaging in trying to build an organization or are in a very small or big organization and complaining about resources, how have you managed to cope with the resources that you have and able to distribute these different roles to volunteers? I guess you do have.
Yes. We are fortunate and blessed to have volunteers, not just volunteers, people who love to work to change things, and they come with their heart open to say, we want to be part of what you are doing. And they come to give, and they give in something that physical resources cannot, because they come with their heart, and they all love God also, and they are part of the work of the ministry. And thank God that because we have seen the impact of it growing, people that come in give, as I've said already, and it just keep growing. I mean, we are not only in Lambeth. We are in Lambeth, we are in Lewisham, we are in Sadok, we are in Luton, and you are looking at getting this community that are vulnerable community, getting what they are looking for. Their lives matters most. And what we are giving to them is increasing their days, prolonging their days on this earth. And so that is why we are very, very, very blessed and fortunate enough to carry on to the next level. So our next level now is to, create an opportunity to build an empowerment center. Program ourselves to build an empowerment center whereby people can come in and find what they are looking for. And this empowerment center, somebody has given us a property to do. You use that one here in Lambeth here. So we are going to organize ourselves in a way to get an empowerment center in Lambeth, because Lambeth, of all the communities in the whole UK, carries the highest of the prevalence. So if we have what we have to change things, and now we are established now in Lambeth here, we are looking at making Lambeth, a free zone, whereby HIV will be just a history.
I mean, some will have a very skeptic, will take up a very skeptical position in this, in terms of the highest, contracting rate is in Lambeth and Sadok, and these are places where you have the majority of the BME communities live, and the reason why people are skeptical, you will say, is because of the narrative that was drawn out of HIV and where it's actually coming from, from the certain people.
Yes.
So if we're seeing a community where those group of people might look like are residing, isn't that a familiar target, one will say?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about people's understanding and their beliefs. I mean,
like being skeptical, because, like I said, they were saying it came from Africa,
I know,
from monkeys, And then when that was disputed by a lot of African scientists and doctors and physicians, then it became like, oh, this is like they blame the homosexuals. And you cannot find a lot of majority of those people in Lambeth. But what you will find, the demographic, is black people in Lambeth.
Sure.
So isn't that narrative they still want people to think about subconsciously or subliminally? That's what I'm saying. People are more skeptical about it. Will think skeptically about it.
Yeah, but people have their own beliefs and all that. So sometimes you give people room to operate on their own level. But you are looking at, something that is a community-based thing that everybody will come and be part of it. A cake that everybody will come and share. So when people come and then they are sharing what they have, they know what they are getting. They know what is impacting them. And we know what we have done, the impact of it. We know the testimonies. We know. If you look at an organization like us, almost every year we get 2 awards.
Yes, we're going to go through that because
you see,
there's so many awards that you've received, isn't it? Appreciation for contributing to upliftment of the needy in the country. Was this in the United Kingdom?
This one is Ghana.
That was Ghana?
Yes.
And then Action Foundation Award Trophy?
Yes.
That in Ghana as well?
That one is global.
And you got the Greater London Enterprise Award 2021.
Yes.
That's and then Award of Excellence.
Yes.
That's Southeast Star Magazine.
Sure.
That's E2. Is that from London as well? E2.
E2 is not in London actually. It's outside London, but they are in the south. Here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And also Best Volunteer Award.
Yes.
There's a picture there. Is that a lady volunteer?
No, that's myself. And and this award was given in Lambeth here.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. So there's so many awards that, you've received Euros Award 2017.
Yes.
And then 2016, the BBI Southwark Star Award.
Yes.
These are great achievements.
It is. So, you see, when this is out there, it's evidence to prove that the thing is working. People want to see evidence these days. Because there's a lot of talk, but there's nothing to see walking around.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk the walk. You do what you do, but you showcase them authentically.
Mm-hmm.
When it is there like this, your words are very few.
Mm-hmm.
So once it's there, it means it was working. If it is working, the people will embrace it. Because it is changing things on the ground. It is not just you doing it, but they see the results. That's why they give you that award. It's not only you that contested. A lot came on, but they seen yours as different. So that is what makes us to be valuably, credible. And we're using that one to continue to spearhead, to champion.
Mm-hmm.
And we know we have something even more than this HIV work. We have young people that we need to teach them, train them. Some of them want to do something, but they don't know what to do and how to do it. In this center, we are going to train young people. We're going to train people, young people, especially those from the black African or African background. You see, this kente you are wearing, I love kente.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kente is good.
Mm.
You see, kente have got so many colors, but every color speaks of itself.
Yeah.
Everyone has its own glory, and they are all blended together.
Yes.
So when you are wearing the kente, everybody loves the kente. And it's a treasure for us, So that is what we want to do. We want to build a place where people can look at kente as it is, not just as a cloth, but they can sew the kente.
Mm.
Because you can't just keep on going to order things from Ghana before you can wear your own fabrics.
You're very innovative, Apostle.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to take a track now by Master KG. This is a beautiful track because, and it's going out to you and all those who've suffered from this terrible disease, HIV. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the Lambeth project, the AMSEC Center, because you've now, from the great work that you're doing and the achievements, the community, Lambeth has offered your Action Plus, your foundation, Action Plus, a property in Lambeth. So we're going to talk about that. You're going to tell us more about that.
Thank you so much.
My special guest today, as you've heard already, Apostle Fred Osei Annin, the founder of Action Plus, and also, what's your denomination called, your church?
It's a Pentecostal church.
Yes.
Yeah, the name is Joy City International.
Joy City
Chapel
International.
Yes.
And where you based?
Oh, we based in Sadok and Lambeth now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the center will commemorate. Yes.
All right. Well, you can tell us more about how many members you've got.
Okay.
10,000. That's great. So let's listen to Master KG. Love you as you are. I love this track. It just says it all, isn't it?
Nobody's perfect.
Especially if you're living in a secular world. I mean, this is a saying that goes every single day, isn't it? Because it's great. Well, there you are. You know what I mean? Stay as beautiful as you are. Some out there is loving you just the way you are.
Yes.
You just have to know it. And when somebody says you're beautiful, just say thank you, and smile. And my special guest here, an Apostle Fred Osei Annin, a founder of Action Plus Foundation, and also the church, which just escaped me.
Joy City Chapel International.
Okay, Joy City. Why should I forget that? I like to be joyful all the time. City International. With me here talking about, himself, about Ghana, growing up in the eastern part of Ghana at a place called
Koforidua. Yes.
And, started with music. Education was not that great. Music was something that, gave him another stepping ball, a platform to which he can move on. And, he told us also about his experience with the cannabis, the weed. That doesn't fit well with him because his imagination was, and that's what weed does actually, but, he couldn't really comprehend it. And that was not made for him anyway. And that one, he didn't struggle to let go, but he did struggle to let go cigarette. That took him a while when he eventually had to go, wanted to disturb a church service, right, that was taking place only because they want to perform as a musician. But when he listened to the words coming out of the pastor's mouth, he felt that the pastor was talking directly to him. And from that moment on, cigarette was gone. And all the things that he found really difficult with. In fact, he didn't even play in the band after which the church service finished. So that's where the journey started. And in 1982, he was ordained. He was ordained as a resident pastor at Theological Training at the Fountain Gate Bible Seminary, and that's in 1982. And then also he obtained the bachelor of ministry theology degree, and in 1990 he was invited to the United Kingdom by the Chalk Farm Baptist Church in London to minister across churches in England, and stayed for about 5 months and went back to Ghana, came back a year after, and then on formed his church, the Joy. Joyce.
Is this Joy City Chapel?
Joy City. You see what I'm saying? It's been a while, yeah. Yes. And then found the Action Plus Action Plus Foundation in the UK in 1997. So welcome back. We're now actually in the last hour. So we're talking about your awards. So many awards you've received for the work that you've done and your foundation. And at this point, because of all the contributions that you've made, the enlightenment, provoking an issue of HIV in the church that has gave a lot of church members and pastors the platform, not only the education around the issue of HIV, but also how to manage and help people with HIV in the church. And as a result of that, you're now received and you would offer a property in Lambeth to open the first HIV empowerment center in the UK. That is a great achievement. So tell us about this center that is about to be open. Is already open or is about to be open? Tell us about it.
We're looking at opening this center in July.
This coming July.
By the 31st, the center is open. Mm-hmm. So we are now preparing the place now, getting ourselves ready to do the launching. So the center is very, very paramount, because it's not only just going to serve for our local community here, mm-hmm. but it's going to be like an international headquarters, whereby anything that goes with the work that we do will have a central location. So people can come from Africa, from Uganda, from Kenya, where we serve. People can come and see where we are, our headquarters. That's where our head is. So we want to get ourselves established here. And we're looking at doing things that will really make Lambeth as a community to be so vibrant. Because Lambeth have gone through a lot when we're talking about HIV. Everybody's saying Lambeth has the highest, whatever, and all that. We want to change that perception. We want to put something else in place, so that at the end of the day, when we have been able to push this agenda of HIV work in place, the United Nations have set up a mandate and a target for the year 2030 to be the zero ending of HIV. So they are looking at, by that time, HIV is zeroed, and it is no more something to talk about. If we are talking about it, it's just talking about it in the history form, but not something we are going to visit again. And it's all about us pushing that agenda forward. So that center is going to create an opportunity for us to maximize our potentials, and then our vision and mission. And we believe also that we still have people who need that kind of divine intervention, not in the area of HIV alone. So many things are happening. In fact, when we were doing HIV intervention, it just occurred to me that, so is it only going to be HIV? But do we know that something can happen anytime? And all of a sudden, COVID-19 came up. And we all saw the devastating nature of COVID, and the number of people that were taken out of our world because of this pandemic. So we are going to set up this place to also build something for the future, so that when anything like this happens, we'll never be taken unawares like COVID did. So we are setting up this center to store up so many resources. The resources are not going to be physical resources alone. We're going to train people to be ready to intervene in anything, in any situation that comes with health issues. We're going to train people like that. And then, like I said, the young people too, they are very, very, very special to us. We have this special project for young people, which we open up in in Lewisham, and these young people come and then they learn so many things. Looking at what they can give, the positive things that the young people have. Some of them have kept it within them because they don't have anywhere to go and then to connect, to engage. So this center is going to help these young people to connect and to engage. Engage in all activities that really will help them to be able to, do good and better things for the community. When young people are doing something that they love, they do it very well. Because at the end of the day, we have tested it. We did this youth empowerment program whereby we train the children to be peer educators. And these children were so eager to learn more because HIV came just when they were not born. And we are looking at them preserving their lives and getting them to understand that HIV does not respect anybody. So how are you going to reach out to your peers to educate them, to be able for them to be able to, prevent this kind of challenge, to hook them up, So the activities that we are planning is so vast that it is going to cover multitudes of interventions in the community, and that is why we are calling this place, Action Plus Multi-Social Empowerment Center, the AMSEC Center. It's going to be a multiple.
Where about in London?
It's going to be on Stuart Road. in Wandsworth.
Okay.
Sutton Road is off.
Clapham somewhere.
Yeah, come from somewhere. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that is gonna be the place, and we want to make that place to become, an effective place with many multiple activities going on.
I mean, earlier on you mentioned about obesity. Is
Yes.
this something that you talk about? This center is going to be more dealing with, different health issues. Is obesity part of
Yes.
that plan as well?
Obesity is part of the plan. In fact, we have dealt with obesity before, like I said, and people were working on obesity, and you can see that now obesity is still a prevalent, and people are still, getting infected with obesity. So we think that those are the things and the areas that we want to work on. So we will look at it that way, and sometime what we do, and what we are going to do even more, is a project that we do. That project is called how do we call it? It's called Your Health is Your Life.
Right.
So Your Health is Your Life is when we are organizing this type of programs and activities, we bring so many issues of health into that project. So we can do eye testing. So people who probably might have some kind of disease in their eyes can come and test for free. And this obesity to you come and weigh yourself to find out whether there's something wrong.
That's a great one. So how often the center will be open for? 7 days, 5 days?
It's going to be open, 7 days. It's going to be a place that is going to boom with activities.
Right.
Yes.
Is it a place as well where the church will be held as well, or it's
We
just?
will have the church there.
Okay.
Because that is paramount. People need a place to meet up with God. So many issues come on, but when God comes in, God is able. So we can't leave God outside this. God is going to be the primary, interventor, as I can put it this way. So we will do programs, activities, on faith issues, and that will be that. Yeah, that will be that.
So which other ways, apart from coming here, people listening to this show and be able to listen to it again on YouTube, but which other means are you using to put out this information that people who are vulnerable, that you're trying to reach out to, will get this information and know that you're there?
Yeah, we all know that in this time of our world, of our season, media is very, very important. Somebody will be in Uganda watching. Somebody will be in Ghana watching. And this help us to create that which is not there, the missing link. So we're going to basically, it's the media. You can't build a brand without a media. You can't promote anything that you have without the media. So within this short time, in fact, we are also going to speed up our coming in here, so that we can get that support from you to fast track this agenda. And the same as others as well. And we're going to use the social media, to the YouTube, the other social media sites, so that people will be influenced and the message will spread around. And we are looking at, within 2 months' time, this project will have to be officially opened.
Okay.
And once that is done, then we are now running.
So in the meantime, where can people go find more information about? I know there is a link on the Feferity News channel, but that was the interview that you did with the magazine. But where can people go get more information about the project that is coming up, the Action Plus Multi-Social Empowerment Center?
Yes. We've already had 2 websites. One is www.actionplusfoundation.org. That is for the main organization. And then we have Annin ministries.com.
Right.
That one is where we are going to meet up with all the projects that we have done before, because it's Fred Annin who championed and pioneered. So he is the one that has gotten all the information. So that is going to be like the suitcase. So if you want anything to pick up, you go in there. And we are also going to build another website specially for the Empowerment Center.
Right.
But that one is not yet done.
Ready.
Yes, we want to really finish up with the process, and then after the launching, that we can even get something to show where we are.
Right.
Yes.
It's great. It's very empowering, encouraging, and thank you very much, Sylvia Robinson's beautiful discussion, beautiful project Action Plus UK, who for many years now has positive impact on many people's life. And also, I think looking at your website, she says great website.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Let's take another track. This is a famous artist, musicians from Ghana. You definitely will know Pat Thomas.
Pat Thomas. Yes. Pat Thomas was one of the greatest of all the talented musicians in Ghana. Very, 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 very smart. His songs just put you straight on your feet. And I don't even know whether he's still there, but Pat Thomas.
So what about if I said Ibotelo as well?
Ibotela too. I mean, these are the giants, you know.
Well, here they are, two of them.
Uh-huh.
And this is a famous track that's been remastered and remixed many times. Oye Odu.
Oh.
Shout there to VJ in India. Way into the morning hours if you're listening. Shout there to you, respect. Classic I Life by two giants of Ghanaian I Life music, Pat Thomas, Ibotelo, Oye Odu. What a great tune. Hope you're enjoying the track here and the conversation. Hope you've been enlightened, learned something, encouraged. Well, lots of things happening in July because the AMSEC Center is supposed to open up in July, somewhere. And also there's a great event happening. The Association of Jamaican Nationals presenting Jamaica's 60th. So it's a cultural extravaganza, Saturday the 23rd of July, just the Saturday before our Feferity event upstairs at the Ritzy. So that's taking place at Birmingham Town Hall. That's the Victoria Square in Birmingham, 7:30, and Master of Ceremony will be Joseph Marshall. Some great personality on this bill. Carol Thompson. You have Amir Joseph, Winston Francis, Be Nice, Malachi Quilly, Sandra Golden, so many great artists. And this is produced by JD Douglas. And tickets are £32 for adult, and under 16, so £15. For more information, you can go to AJN Jamaica 60 at outlook.com. So many events around the Jamaican Independence 60th is happening. Well, this one is going to be great. And also, if you're going to be listening to Feferity Radio, I will be speaking to some of these personalities right here on Feferity Radio. So stick around for more information. Well, Sir Apostle Fred Osei, let's talk about funding a little bit now. Tell us about funding, because you mentioned about the center. It's going to be hosting a lot of many empowering programs. But I think you didn't mention sports, IT training and commerce and all of that. And at the same time, where is the funding coming from for all of these activities?
It's a very big question, really. We have come to that point of time that people have now acknowledged the work that we have done. It's impacted the system. You know, where people couldn't go, they can now go now. And if that has happened, that is the time of our preparation to showcase who we are. I mean, not just showcasing your achievements, but the heart behind the work that you are doing, so that people will build trust in us. You see, trust is very, very important. So we didn't look at us rushing to do fundraising. We just wanted people to know who we are, so they can know the heart we have and what we want to do. When people see trust, they want to buy in. They would want to support. And we have not done any fundraising before. We haven't done this before. So this will be the first time for us really to ask. So we are now really asking people that, I mean, this is a trustworthy cause that we all feel it is very important in our world today. I mean, in our world today, the systems are very, very confusing. You know, people are doing things that at the end you come up to know that that is not your expectation. They don't expect you to do this to me. You know, but we believe that, I mean, transparency and also making sure that your life is not just there, but it is transforming people. And so where we are now is the time that we are asking. We haven't asked before. For 24 years, we haven't asked. And that time is gone now. We are in a time of us asking for help, for support in any kind. Whatever you have to make this one, you know, work for every one of us, don't relent. We are looking for people who have sources, resources, and substances to push this, you know, empowerment center as an agenda, so that it will benefit our community and benefit our world as well. So I'm using this opportunity to do an appeal, really, because like I said, we haven't done this before. We wanted to build that trust first. You go to our website, you know who we are. Small organization. But we are capable of handling the things that people bring in, you know. And I think that it's time for you to help us, to support us. Let us make this thing work. We can begin from this empowerment center, and we will be able to replicate it. We will do one not only in the south, go into the east, the west, the central. Every place that, you know, we have an opportunity to make London where we want it to be. This is just the beginning. So we want you to come on board. Whatever you have is going to be a resource that we will treasure so much.
Well, I can tell you, you've got a fan already in Uganda. Mazumiru. Mazumiru, yes. It says, excellent and godly appointed beloved man. Through Action Plus Foundation in Uganda, it has done great work.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you so much.
So for those who, from what they've heard, and they want to get in contact, one more time, I know you said it before, what could you give details of various contact for yourself and the organization?
Yes, if you go to www.actionplusfoundation.org, you will get us there, and also Annin Ministries.com. We are there. We haven't set up something for the Empowerment Center, but we will be able to give feedback again for people to know that one is also active. So any of these channels are ready for you to help to support.
Okay. I mean, I said before the music that this is the tricky one, but how many members are there in your church?
Yes. To be frank with you, I lost my church.
Oh.
I lost my church, and, the stigma ate into me. And my church couldn't stand it when our pastor would just be going everywhere doing HIV work. So when I go to Ghana...
What do you mean? I mean, tell us more, because you talk about a stigma, which you've helped a lot of people understanding that and overcoming that stigma. But when you said you lost your church because your members could not stand you talking about HIV...
Yes.
How was that for you?
Yes, because when I started, like I said, it wasn't just HIV. When I started, it was doing multiple, projects for the community.
The church was fine with that.
The church was fine with that.
Yeah. The members were good with that.
They were good with that because other things were coming up. But when we singled out the HIV work, it became an issue.
Is it because, according to many people, will say because the Bible never talks about it?
No, you see, like our community want a pastor to be a pastor for them. Mm-hmm. Where they can come, pastor, pray for me, and you pray for them. You visit them. Mm-hmm. But this is a pastor whose passion is on different issues. Mm-hmm. And the issues is he's looking after HIV people, which the church doesn't buy into it. Mm-hmm. So when you come from your mission work and you come in, because they don't want to stand that which they see, they won't come again. So I thought within myself as I prayed that Action Plus is very, very paramount, because that is the missing link in the church.
So now you're growing members.
Definitely.
Right.
So now people have now come to see us. They have now come to know that that intervention was what they needed now. And people are ready now.
Because people are coming for the gospel. People want to hear something that will make them believe.
For them to believe.
Mm-hmm. Not make them be aware.
That's it. Seeing it vividly and then, knowing that the thing is working. And we have all of them around about the opening of the center is going to open that door for everybody to come back, because now I have time for them.
Okay. Well, a representative here from Feferity will be there.
Yes.
At that opening, but also would like to welcome you again to talk about that occasion, the opening of the AMSEC Center in Lambeth. And Osei, I want to thank you very much for all your contribution. It is not easy. Some would say it's very contrary to, the things that you've ordained to do as a theologian and an apostle. But however, the work varies.
Yes.
And some has to take a very tough line of approach.
Sure.
Some has to take the very easy one.
Yes, right.
But it seems to see if the one that you're taking is something that you love, even though it's not easy. But we want to say thank you very much.
Thank you.
For all that you're doing. But we'd like to invite you again to come in.
Thank you.
When you after the opening, so you can talk extensively about the occasion.
Thank you so much, and I do appreciate the time you have allowed me to come in. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I will say thank you as well to Coach for making this possible, and to all those listening from the cultural group and Men Behave. Thank you very much to all those who are listening for the first time. I want to say thank you very much for listening to our station. This is your station. This is your nostalgic station, Feferity Radio. So make sure you stay with us here as often as you can. We're here 24/7, 7 days a week, and you can check some of our programs on Mixcloud Feferity Radio, and we are on Spotify as well. On some podcasts are there for you to entertain yourself and learn and grow. That's Feferityinspire. And for those of you going to be watching this over and over again on YouTube, I want to say thank you very much. But please make sure anytime you watch this, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. And like our program, many more for you to enjoy. And we hope that you will enjoy and like our programs and subscribe to our channel. Pastor Fred, Osei, Annin, I thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And I'll leave all of you with this beautiful, amazing group. I think I might play two, if so. But it's Cardinal Rex Lawson. And this is a great tune that has been remixed by so many artists. We can't just love to let it go yet.
Corner, baby. Wuru wuru, baby. Waka waka, baby. Suku suku, baby. I go tell mama, oh. Me go tell papa, oh. Wuru wuru, baby. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mama, I go tell Baba.
stay safe, and thank you for listening to us here on Feferity Radio. You want to say goodbye, sir?
Hello. Goodbye, everybody, for tuning in. I hope that we shall meet again very soon. You take care of yourself and keep safe.
Thank you.
Anybody